Hey history buffs and gearheads, welcome back. Today we're lighting up the battlefield, literally, as we count down the 8 American guns that turned the tide in World War II. Think of this as a fiery tour through history's arsenal. No drones or lasers, just raw, boomy, bangy firepower. Buckle up because we're kicking off with a weapon that turns soldiers into human fire-breathing dragons. First up, the M2 flamethrower, the ultimate bunker-clearing inferno on a backpack. Picture this. You're in the Pacific, facing a fortified enemy cave. What do you need? The M2 spits a 20 to 40 meter napalm death ray for about 7 seconds, just enough time to scare the jungle critters and enemy out of hiding. Marines hit with these things nicknamed it Zippo with a 50-gallon tank. Okay, I made that up, but you get it. It was basically a man-portable dragon's breath. The flame was so scary that even later on, armies mounted flamethrowers on tanks to keep poor GIs from catching fire-soaked leads. In the Pacific, this bad boy made a huge difference. It was science fiction real, clearing bunkers, trenches, and even drenched caves of entrenched enemies. And sure, hey, I only have 7 seconds of burn time, you might laugh. But 7 seconds of napalm is 7 seconds of pure game over for any hunkered down enemy. Imagine a dragon applying 7 seconds to sunset. Yep, the flamethrower was that dramatic. Remember though, it was heavy, almost 70 pounds loaded, and a nightmare for the user if hit. But hey, it did save lives by clearing those impossible hideouts. By war's end, flamethrowers Saudid used napalm thickener, making each blast even nastier. Boom! Sorry, that was me. Real flamethrowers have no boom, just a long whoosh. Now, wipe off those soot marks from your goggles. Next, we shrink from flamethrowers to the plunger-shaped grease gun. Meet the M3 grease gun, the plumber's nightmare that every GI secretly loved. If you've ever seen a real grease gun, you know, the mechanic's tool, congrats, the M3 looks almost identical. Early GIs cracked jokes. Hey, is this for unclogging pipes or killing Jerry's? It earned nicknames like Plumber's Nightmare and Cake Decorator, but that cheap, ugly look belied an important secret. It was dirt cheap to make and brutally effective. In fact, it was designed as a wartime replacement for the famous Thompson, with production costs slashed to just about $45 each. That's under $700 today. Even better, the U.S. kept it in service for over 50 years. That's right. While Thompson became collector's swag, the M3 marched on from World War II through Korea and beyond. Soldiers would say, it ain't pretty, but it shoots, and it definitely shot straight. This little .45 caliber SMG went thump-thump at about 450 rounds per minute, perfect for close quarters chaos. Here's a tongue-in-cheek thought. If a plumber showed up on the battlefield, he might wonder why everyone's screaming. But jokes aside, the grease gun was beloved by tank crews and paratroopers for its tiny size and solid punch. They swapped those drum magazines for practical 30-round stick mags, but they never forgot. It earned its stripes quietly. In short, cheap, easy to pack, and fire-breathing. Well, sort of. The grease gun wasn't glamorous, but it was a soldier's reliable friend. Speaking of old faithfuls, let's haul out a real veteran, the grandpa of GI rifles.
Picture World War I. Now add modern jungle and machine guns. That's the world of the M1903 Springfield. This bolt-action 30-06 rifle had been Dad's rifle, and it stuck around into WWII. It's heavy, 8.7 pounds, and holds only 5 rounds per clip. But what a clip! Back at Guadalcanal in '42, Leathernecks lugging Springfields held the line against Japanese forces, as carving a place in history, as one author put it. In fact, the first big push in the Pacific used Marines armed only with these. Here's the trade-off. Yank that bolt, cycle the next shot, and you've got precision, but you can't spray bullets like a machine. GIs joked it was like fine wine. You have to uncork each shot, but that was okay because accuracy saved them. Rangers and scouts later loved the Springfield for special missions where that bolt-action stealth and pinpoint accuracy mattered. Picture a sniper taking aim. Yep, often an M1903A4 with a scope. Fun fact, Marines had hesitated to switch to the semi-auto Garand at first, so they boarded their transports for Guadalcanal with these old champs. They ended up itching for semi-autos by the end of the campaign. Bolt action was so 1918 in that jungle fight. But no shame, this old rifle was rock-solid reliable. Plenty of Springfields stayed in service alongside Garands throughout the war. And yes, it outlasted some American troops all the way to Korea as snipers' favorites. Grandpa Springfield reminds us, sometimes tradition wins, and an old warhorse can hold the line when shiny new toys aren't around. Which brings us to one of the shiniest sidearms of all. 45 ACP, the king of this'll put the hurt on ya. Our star sidearm, the Colt 1911, later the 1911 A1, is an icon. We're talking the pistol Elvis left behind in Vegas. Weighing in at 39 ounces with a 5-inch barrel, it holds 7 rounds of 45 caliber thunder. It served through 2 world wars and earned the nickname the gun that won 2 world wars. Okay, that's street cred talk, but history loves this gun. During World War II, every American Joe and Jane with a badge wanted one. It was standard issue for the U.S. military. When you had one of these in your holster, you were packing serious stopping power. GIs treated tall tales about the 45's might. One famous story involves 2 pilots under attack. The fellow with the carbine shot twice, missed. The guy with the Colt shot once, and pow, headshot. Pop movie stuff, right? It cemented the legend that a 45 was the knockout punch in any fight. And in case you wondered, yes, many a GI came home with one hidden in his duffel as a souvenir. Want more? How about a Japanese pilot literally getting shot down in midair by a parachuting crewman with a 45 pistol? They say only Hollywood could top that story, but it actually happened. It's heavy, it's loud, and it's got swagger. Those 45s could drop a man with one shot, which made GIs swear by it. No wonder many still call it the Cadillac of pistols. We're 3 war zones in, and the battlefield's starting to feel like a shopping spree. Next up, the bolt action's best friend, coming at you faster, semi-auto style.
Ladies and gents, meet the M1 Garand, the rifle that gave every GI 8 shots that could rain fire. This baby is America's first true semi-auto service rifle, chambered in .30-06, feeding from an 8-round en-bloc clip. By war's end, they'd built about 5.4 million of them. That's a hell of a lot of firepower. General George S. Patton himself called the Garand the greatest battle implement ever devised. Talk about a high bar. Why all the hype? Because with the Garand, an American could spit off shots far faster than a German or Japanese soldier could cycle a bolt action. In Normandy and Iwo Jima, that mattered big time. Picture a Marine on patrol. He'd thumb the clip into the Garand, and as long as he kept squeezing the trigger, lead flew at rate and fast. Meanwhile, the enemy with bolt rifles might curse, work the bolt, curse again. Soldiers joked, when our Garand is clicking and you're hitting the dirt, it's already too late. That semi-auto advantage really did give our squads extra teeth. Even the clips had character. The last round ejected with a satisfying clang or ping, so GIs knew they were out. Sure, there's a famous line, the Garand went ping in training, but in combat that ping meant daddy couldn't fight anymore. Yikes. Heavy thought. But for raw firepower, this rifle was a beast. It made others rush out semi-automatic designs too, basically leveling up infantry rifles all around. After the Garand salvo, let's sweep in close for some sub-firepower. Cue the drum roll, or rather the drum mag. It's the Thompson SMG, aka the Tommy gun. You know it from gangster flicks, the iconic 45 submachine gun with either a stick or drum mag and that vertical foregrip. By World War II, its golden age was mid-flight. Marines lugged Thompsons onto Tarawa and Guadalcanal, and Rangers and paratroopers even earlier were drawn to its reputation. It spewed .45 bullets at around 600 to 700 rounds per minute, making enemies wish they were never born. Back in 1939, Time magazine even called the Tommy gun the deadliest weapon, pound for pound, ever devised. No kidding. For close combat, it was pure hurricane. The Army initially thought, nah, in the 20s, but by the eve of World War II, they reversed course. Washington standardized it as the M1928A1 and planned to crank thousands out. By early war, over 1 million Thompsons were built, much of it lend-lease to allies too. It's heavy, like 11 pounds loaded heavy, and drinks ammo like a frat boy at open bar. Those drum magazines were fun, but oh man, talk about a headache to carry. The Thompson was sexy and fierce, a Manhattan doll from NYC to a jungle GI. It was love at first rat-a-tat. But it was costly to make. Eventually, GI started swapping to the much cheaper and lighter M3 grease gun around 1943. Remember that plumber we met? Yeah. Still, the Thompson held its legend. Imagine Easy Company baying with Thompsons in icy France, Marines ripping through jungle vines with them. It felt like having gangster mojo in the front lines. In short, Tommy gun equals tactical badassery. We've had sidearms and SMGs. Now get ready to zoom out to the heavy firepower. Now, big guns time. Meet the Browning N250 Cal, lovingly nicknamed Ma Deuce. This 50 Browning is like a monster version of a rifle, belt-fed, tripod-mounted, or vehicle-mounted, and brutally powerful. It's been used in every conflict since, but it cut its teeth in World War II. Used on aircraft, think 6 to 8 on a B-17, and mounted on jeeps, ships, tanks, planes, basically anywhere an AAF needed to chew up ground or sky. It could fry infantry, shred light armor, punch holes in boats, even send fighters diving for cover. By war end, nearly 2 million Browning 50 cal guns of all types were made. Yes, 2 million! They consumed literally billions of rounds in World War II alone. American pilots dubbed it their secret weapon. With 8 of these, nothing's flying above us. Audie Murphy knew it well. He climbed onto a burning Tank Killer's 50s and emptied it into an advancing company, later earning a Medal of Honor for mowing down dozens of troops. That's the kind of legend Ma Deuce has. Also note, aside from bare-knuckle power, the 50 BMG cartridge it fires was designed for armor penetration at 2,700 feet per second, meaning it laughed at Nazi light tanks and dive bombers alike. In tank busting or air defense or even beachfront suppression, this gun was the Imperial heavy hitter. The Allied planes wouldn't have owned the skies without these Brownings roaring overhead. Bottom line, if World War II was a movie, Ma Deuce was the 50 cal special effects extravaganza. All right, one more rocket to launch. And finally, the Bazooka, America's first real man-portable anti-tank rocket launcher. Think of it as the shoulder-fired grenade of the future. The original M1 Bazooka, 2.36 inches, let one GI do the job of a whole artillery squad. Stand back 150 yards, aim, and whoosh! A rocket with a shape-charged warhead screams towards a tank or bunker, going bang right through armor or concrete. Here's a fun origin tidbit. After testing it at Aberdeen in '42, the commander exclaimed it sure looks like Bob Burns' bazooka. Bob Burns was a 1930s comedian who played a silly trombone-like instrument called a bazooka. Boom, name stuck. Everyone from Britain to Soviet partisans was soon wielding it. Heck, the Germans captured some early bazookas in North Africa and promptly made their own, the Panzerschreck, because they were so impressed. By late war, it was a staple, used in Normandy, the Battle of the Bulge, Iwo Jima, you name it. Ike even counted the bazooka among his tools of victory, along with the A-bomb, Jeep, and C-47. It's no exaggeration. For infantry, it changed the game. Suddenly, a grunt could take out a Tiger's side armor from safety or blast open a fortified pillbox all by himself. Picture G.I. Joe, bazooka on shoulder, shouting, "Bazooka! Bazooka! Bazooka!" on the tip of his tongue. Well, maybe just in our minds. That rocket thunder and puff of smoke was a lifeline in many sticky situations. Sure, it took a crew of 2 and needed a lot of courage to face a tank, but when it hit, man did it hit hard. Whew, was that a fireworks show or what? Those 8 pieces of hardware are the reason World War II has its boom-filled legacy. From jets aflame to giant 50 cal belts, these guns gave the Allies the edge. If you enjoyed this wild ride through World War II firepower, smash that like button so we know you want more, drop a comment below on which weapon blew you away, and subscribe if you haven't already for more high-powered history. Thanks for hanging out, stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.